Hey, what's up guys, it's Brownwoods and we are back at it with another banger video, but this time we are going to be reviewing a Union Arena match. So this is my Megumi deck, my Jujutsu Kaisen Union Arena Yellow Megumi deck. I took this into my rare battles. This is my first ever rare battle that I actually managed to successfully register for. So playing right here against a Mahito, Purple JJK. So right here, I actually pass. I draw my first turn and I pass. And my opponent on 2 AP, he plays a Mahito and the Junpei. So Junpei on play is gonna have him trash the top 3 cards of his deck if there's a Mahito on the field. So back to us, we're at 2 AP. And then I'm going to tap 1 to play the Divine Dog black and white. So right here, I'm establishing a really strong 0 cost because I want this card in my trash as soon as possible. And then I tap another AP for the Nue. Because pretty much how my Megumi deck works is, if you guys don't know, it revolves around Shikigami. It revolves around me playing cards from specifically playing Shikigami from my trash onto the field, as well as from my hand onto the field with effects from my cards. So it's kind of like a zombie deck if you think about it that way, because you are bringing Shikigami back from the dead, pretty much back from your sideline onto the field. So really strong burst deck. It's definitely a very aggressive deck. You're playing a lot of low cost bodies and just constantly pushing up and constantly refilling your backline. So right here, my opponent is obviously figuring out what he wants to play right here, seeing if he wants to move up. And he moves up his Mahito to be able to get a swing in this turn. And then he taps 1. Let's see what he ends up going for right here. Playing this Purple JJK deck is super fun. I actually have this deck too. He plays, I believe it's a 0 cost, the one that has the activate main, tap 1 or tap this card to activate 2 energy. So he plays the Ghetto, which is the Searcher Ghetto. Ghetto on play, KO sideline one of your characters, and then look at the top 6 cards from your deck and grab 2 Cursed Spirit cards. So right here, he trashes the Junpei and grabs the Jogo and the Raid Jogo. And then Junpei's ability procs, which says if this card is sidelined and you have a Mahito on your field, play 1 Junpei, or I believe it's Abomination from your trash set to active on your field or rested. But he ends up not having it there, so pretty good for us. Unlucky for him, right? But you know, really good for us. That way, you know, he's not taking advantage of that extra effect. So back to us, we are at a big 3 AP, and now we're going to be at 3 AP for the rest of the game right here. So I have a lot of options, right? Playing this Megumi deck, it's really low to the ground, but it also has some big bodies. But the way I play it really low to the ground, and what that means is I'm okay with pushing up my lesser power characters, and you know, refilling my backline. So right here, as you can see, I have a good amount of cards in hand. I definitely want to start using a bunch of these cards. Just seeing which combination will be the best. A lot of times, it's a little difficult when you have so many different combos that you can do. And the way that I like to play Union Arena is I just like to find the best bang for my buck with like the best efficiency, like the best moves that I can play. So I tap 1 for Megumi. I tap another 1 for Great Serpent. I tap 1 for Domain Expansion to restand 2 AP. Okay, now I'm back at 2. As you can see, my board is quickly filling up. I tap 1 for a Searcher Megumi, 2 energy, which says on play, look at the top 5 and grab 1 Shikigami and add it to hand. So I grab this Nue, add it to hand. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 energy on the field right now. Really nice. And then I tap another 1 for a Raid Megumi. Raid Megumi is going to let me search top 5 and grab 1 Shikigami or Chimera Shadow Guarding Sight and add it to my hand, and then play a Shikigami from my hand rested on my top or bottom. So pretty strong, right? Like very good turn right here. In hindsight, I could have probably pushed up the Divine Dog as well and had four guys on top, now that I kind of look at it again. But yeah, pretty good right there. My opponent takes the first life hit, Ghetto, add to hand, second life hit, no trigger, and pass. So really good turn right here for us. We definitely established some board presence. Now my opponent has a grip of cards in hand. Now it's kind of his turn, right? So the whole thing about Union Arena is you kind of have to be pulling off the best combos that you can with the cards that you have, right? It seems pretty obvious, right? But it's just what is the best combination of cards that you can play this turn, right? Like if you have 3 AP and you have a bunch of different cards that you have, it's like you obviously want to remove stuff while playing stuff. Like that's largely what the meta is for Union Arena. It's the removal and, you know, spreading out the board, I think. Which is pretty interesting because this Megumi deck does not have any removal whatsoever. There are 0 removal cards in this deck. It is just all like hard aggression coming at you. My opponent here taps 1 for the Hanami. And Hanami is going to be, you know, his effect does kick in, which says if you're playing against a yellow or blue deck, the required energy, or I think the required energy cost for this card is reduced by 1. So he's pretty much a 2 energy, 1 AP, double energy generator. So really strong card. So my opponent plays a Jogo and reduces 1,000 to my Megumi, and then he raids the Jogo to give another minus 3k to my raid Megumi and sidelines him. And then he swings 4k. As you can see in my hand right here, I have 2 specials in hand. So the special for this Megumi deck is unlike any other special in the game. So I take the hit, final trigger, nothing. And he swings and then I just block. So my opponent only got 1 swing in there, which was pretty good for us, right? It keeps our life healthy. It keeps my characters alive, like most importantly, which is just gonna let me swing even more next turn. So let's see what we end up going for here. I guess I can explain to you guys a little bit about what the special does. The special for this Megumi deck, it's called 10 Shadows Technique. Pretty much you pay 1 AP and it says draw 1 card and then play 1 Shikigami from your sideline or hand set to active onto your field. Really strong, right? Most special cards are removal. Most specials are, you know, sideline to 5k, reduce a card by 4k, stuff like that. So right here, I actually opt to bring both of my Shikigami up to the top, and then I play 1 Toge, and then I tap another one to play a Nue. And then I activate my Toge main to buff all my my front line by 1,000 each. So I swing 3k, draw 1, trash 1 with Nue first, because for me that's the most important card to be able to swing with right now. And I trash my Divine Dog Totality. Now I swing 4k with my Great Serpent. My opponent takes, final trigger, nothing. I swing another 4k. So as you can see, like I'm already sending a bunch of attacks, right? Like I'm already putting out a ton of pressure with this build, right? A lot of times I feel like when I get to play this Toge, the one that's in my back line, it just increases my win percentage so much. If you guys don't know what that Toge does, he's a 2 energy cost, 1 AP. My opponent takes life here real quick and activates color trigger, which is gonna let him play a purple, I believe 2 energy, 1 AP card from his trash that's active. So back to Toge. Toge is, he's super strong. He has nullify block, nullify impact, first of all. And then he has an activate main ability. So my opponent here actually ends up playing the Junpei and activates the Junpei's ability, which is trash top 3. And then back to my swings, I just swing the last 3k and my opponent blocks and I pass turn to him. So back to this Toge, again, just the Toge has a crazy ability that's activate main, pay 1 AP, and every character on your front line gets plus 1,000 power for the turn. Really strong, right? Like there are cards that you play and it says give 1 character plus 1,000 in like many other decks and colors, but this card lets you buff your whole front line by 1,000. So if I'm already playing a low to the ground playstyle, which I have 2 3,000s on the field, 1 2,000, or 2 2,000s, right? 2 2,000 powers and 2 3,000 powers. With Toge, it buffs all of them up by 1,000 each. And now suddenly I have two 4Ks on the field and two 3Ks. And one of them that's, you know, when attacking, draw one, trash one. So very quickly, this deck can, you know, put out immense amounts of pressure. So my opponent here taps 2 to play Ghetto. Ghetto is a super strong card. If you guys don't know what it does, my opponent ends up activating. My opponent ends up playing the Ghetto and trashes his Junpei. And Junpei's ability procs, which says if this card is sidelined and you have Mahito on your field, you can play a Junpei Abomination from your sideline that's arrested anywhere on your field. So he pretty much gets the Ghetto ability off for free, which says if you sidelined a character on your side of the field this turn, activate main, your opponent now has to sideline a character on their field. I get to choose. So I choose my Divine Dog Black and White, which is just super good for me because I actually want that card in the trash. My opponent uses his special, which I was just talking about how everyone's special is as a removal special. So he sidelines a 3K, which is my Great Serpent, and then it lets him play a Shikigami, or not Shikigami, it lets him play a transfigured human from his trash that's active. So he plays that transfigured person. Then he swings 4K, I take, and he passes because I can block his last attack. So really strong turn for my opponent, right? He managed to establish another 4K body, and he has a full back line, full front line, and he already has a Ghetto on the field. So every turn that this Ghetto is on the field, I'm pretty much going to be losing one character on my side of the field, as long as he can get his ability off. And we already spoke about how I have no removal. I have no ways to remove this Ghetto in my specific deck. So if you're ever going against a Mahito and they play the Ghetto, you need to save your removal. You need to save your specials, whatever tools you have to remove for this 2 AP Ghetto, because it's gonna be the death of you. But you know, obviously we don't have any ways to remove it, so we just have to play through it. We already whittled our opponent down to 2 life, as you can see, right? Because of our early game. This Ghetto is kind of a mid to late game card because it is 2 AP, and it's just, you have to ramp up to be able to play it. So luckily we did a lot of damage early. So right here I activate my special 10 Shadows technique, draw a card, and play a Shikigami from my hand or trash that's active. So I play the Great Serpent. I tap another AP for another 10 Shadows technique, draw a card, play a Shikigami from my hand or trash active. I choose a Divine Dog Totality. And let's see what I do for my last AP. Just kind of deciding on what I want to do here, if I want to activate the Toge ability or if I want to play possibly a raid or possibly the sight. But I think the correct play here is to just, I tap 1 for Toge's ability to give plus 1000 to my whole front line, and I swing 4.5k double damage, damage 2. And you know, my opponent is forced with a decision here, right? He only has two life left. If he takes this double damage hit, he loses the game. So pretty much getting a free block here. Not a free block, right? I'm forcing a block here. So he blocks with the Abomination. Then I swing 3k, draw 1, trash 1. Let's see what I trash. I trash the Divine Dog Black and White. And I swing 4k, top life. My opponent takes this one. Mahito color trigger. Again, we just seen him hit this one last turn. It's gonna have him play a Shikigami. It's gonna have him play a no, I believe it's any card. It's gonna have him play a 2/1 from his trash that's active. And then he doesn't choose to activate his Junpei's ability. And I swing 4k and he takes with the Junpei, which is gonna proc Junpei's ability to play an Abomination. When you're playing against Mahito, there's a whole bunch of like milling and recycling and playing back from the grave. This is actually a pretty interesting matchup because we're both really like playing stuff from our trash all the time. Now that I think about it, we're both kind of playing the same style in a way. So we pass to my opponent. So my opponent is faced with a pretty challenging decision right here. he is at 1 life, right? He's at 1 life. We are at 4 life, and we have a full board of characters on our front line. So we have a lot of ways to defend. We did use our 10 shadows technique, so you know, we kind of just have to see what goes on right here. My opponent is gonna use his transfigured human to reduce 1,000 to my divine dog totality, and then he activates Ghetto main, which is gonna force me to trash one of my characters. So now I am gonna choose to trash the Nue in my back line because I want to keep all 4 of my blockers up. And I'm just, you know, I just choose to give it. Pretty easy decision for me. I'm not gonna give up the 2 energy generating Megumi or my Toge, which is pretty much gonna buff my whole squad to be able to swing over 4K. So pretty easy decision for me to choose that Nue as a target. Now my opponent still has 2 AP left. He uses his Sight card, Self-Embodiment of Perfection, which is whenever a Mahito on his side of the field attacks, he can choose to sideline one of his characters and play a transfigured person, transfigured human, set to active anywhere on his field. Which is going to be further, you know, like in a way, it lets him swing 5 times if he could like get it, you know, get it off correctly. But it's looking pretty grim, right? I still have all my guys on the field. My opponent already used 2 AP. Let's see what he ends up going for. He goes to attack phase, does not end up using that last AP and swings 4K. I take. It's my active trigger. I give my active trigger to my Serpent. Swings 4K, I block. He swings 25. I block for 3. And then I block the last one. He swings 15. And he activates the Sight ability to trash and brings back the same one, and swings 25. That last one, 2,500. Right here, I was just seeing like, can I even take this life and like still win next turn? That's kind of why I was thinking, because it would be really nice to get a good trigger off life and just kind of boom, there you go, special trigger, KO one of your opponent's characters. We love to see that. I took that risk. I was like, we can't afford to take this 1 life hit, and luckily for us, it was a special trigger, which is probably the best trigger we could have gotten for that life hit, which is going to let us KO that Ghetto. My opponent is at 1 life. Yeah, I have 4 attacks, possibly 5 if I play it right. I tap 1 for the Megumi. I tap another 1 for the Chimera Shadow Garden. And then I tap 1 for Domain Expansion, gonna restand 2. I tap 1 to raid Megumi to bring him to the front line, remove Nue from play. Gonna look at top 5 and grab a Shikigami and add it to hand. I grab a Nue. And activate Toge's ability to give everybody plus 1K, and I swing 4.5 double attack. My opponent takes, and that is going to be game right there. So right there, I was just pretty much, you know, guaranteeing that I had the strongest board on my field in case any drastic mistakes or anything like that. So there you have it. That was the Megumi versus Mahito game. This was at my rare battle. Super fun deck to play if you guys don't already play Megumi, and super cheap to build too. This deck is going to be getting a lot of support in the Volume 2 for JJK. So I would highly recommend you guys to invest in this and buy this deck early. Buy it now if you like the gameplay. Just so when that Volume 2 comes out, just so you won't be paying that premium. But yeah, there you have it. I'm going to post the deck list right here so you guys can take a look. This is pretty much what it looks like. This is what I'm currently running. I would say the MVP for me in this deck is definitely Toge. Toge is just super good. It's like I said, it's gonna make all of our low to the ground units suddenly be 4K, suddenly be 3K, right? So it pretty much helps us win the game. just to be honest, when I don't see Toge, it's a little hard, but yeah, that's my deck list. Hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys learned something. The next match was gonna be against Blue Sukuna. So if you guys want to watch that, definitely stay tuned. Yeah, there you have it. Hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.